Hi guys, thank you so much for joining this 7 days class. My name is Samuel Linus and I'm super excited to have you here. At NEDI, we are a peer-to-peer edtech platform that allow people to learn in peers, groups, and communities. It simply means that gone are those days when you'll be learning alone and you have questions to ask, but nobody to ask questions. You wish you're a part of a community. You wish you have a mentor. You wish you have a learning mate, somebody you guys can learn and grow with. But unfortunately, you're learning online, so there is no one like that. But with NEDI, you have access to all of those things and even more. When you enroll for our platform, you have access to a one-on-one mentor. You'll be able to schedule a clarity call with your instructor at will. You will also join a support group where you can ask questions at any point in time. You will also be part of a weekly live class where you'll be learning and growing with other people. And guess what? You will also be paired with an accountability partner, somebody that you guys can learn and grow with and also build rapport as you advance in your career. And at the end of the career roadmap, you also get personalized portfolio review and job support. Don't forget to go on our platform and turn on your subscription. It's just a monthly token. That being said, don't forget to also subscribe on this particular YouTube channel so you'll be notified when we upload subsequent lessons, right? So without wasting much of our time, let's get into this particular video.
You're welcome back. In this video, we'll be taking a look at another design principle. The design principle we'll be taking a look at today will be the principle of contrast and what accessibility, right? So what is contrast? So contrast in a nutshell allows us to be able to make our design more visible to the user, right? In such a way that it will not be contrasting. So contrasting or conflicting is when you is contrasting or conflicting is when you have your design that is not really visible, right? So the states whereby you have something that will just be so visible and you will not be confused about it, right? It's not be blending into the design. So that is what we mean by contrast, right? So now that we know the meaning of contrast, right, how do we necessarily apply it in design? So I will give us some example by me just like playing with this design a little bit. So you could see this design now, it has two different contrasts here. We have this plug and play for that is gray, then we have the fintech that is fully black, right? And that is done intentionally. With just applying this contrast alone, we've been able to do what? We've been able to add some form of what? We're able to have some sort of hierarchy actually, right? So contrast to also allow us to gain hierarchy. So for contrast, we are looking at accessibility too. What is accessibility? How easy it is for users to be able to access that particular size. So when you're talking about contrast, we're talking about color here. So contrast basically is for color. So let's say this particular design right now, the color of this is probably something like this, right? This light, or let me not even use that one. Let me use this other lighter gray color and say instead of this color that we gave it, this thing is like this, right? Then if you're looking at it like this now, if you come on this particular website, you can now come here and agree that how come this plug and play I cannot really see it? It simply means that it has what? Bad contrast. The plug and play now has bad contrast because what we can only see there now is the fintechs, right? So we cannot see the plug and play. So just imagine we do the same thing for this too as well. So let's do the same thing. Let's copy that particular code and come over here and also attach probably a very bad contrast to it to Control V, right? So if we do that now, this is something like where, so you see those texts are hidden. So when you have a very poor contrast, those texts will be hidden. And I'm going to show us how we can actually ensure that we will never have poor contrast again, right? Figma has a plugin called the AA1 contrast checker, but I'll not be taking a look at that particular plugin, right? I'll not be using the plugin in this particular video. I will just be going straight and showing you how you can understand the principles behind contrast. So with the right contrast, your design will be what? Accessible. Accessibility in design simply means that users can come on the design and actually see the design element and assess the design element. For example, the text should be visible to the eye. They should not be struggling to be able to read. The text as well should be big enough. Accessibility also has to do with terms of size. For example, as you can see, this plug and play here. So let me Control Z now the way it was before. Control Z, Control Z again, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. All right, cool. The way this plug and play is before, it is really accessible in such a way that the size of the text is big. This is about 96 px. The size of the text is big in such a way that once you land on this particular website, you're going to see plug and play for fintechs, which looks really great, right? So I think this is nice. And let's start taking a look at some basic principles of contrast. So now the first principle of contrast is the principle I would love to say that is if your background is light, so your background now, if it is light like this, then your foreground is what is on top of your background. Your foreground should be darker than your background. So if my background is like this and I want to have a text here, I will type and plug and play now. Say plug and play for fintechs, right? Right. If I have this now, so based on contrast, let me look for some write-up. Let me just bring this write-up here. All right, cool. This looks nice. Let's break this one like this. All right, this looks cool too as well. All right, let me reduce this. All right. So now we have this little design here. So this simply means if the background is light, this background could be as light as becoming F5, 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 F5. So if the background is light, the foreground is what is on top of the background, right? Should be a darker version, right? So now, how do I mean? If we have something like this, if we have something like this, you don't want to have the same, you don't want to have light and light together. That will result towards bad contrast. So if we have something like this, for example, and this one now is also the background here is light. Let's say this one now is also light. Then we'll have probably a light text like this, right? And also another light text too like this, right? So you could see this now is resulting towards bad contrast. But if we have a light foreground, guess what we could do? We could choose to now have a darker background. So let's go with a darker background like this. So if we go with a darker background now, the contrast is way better, right? So let me even go darker than this. Let me go darker than this. All right. If we have a darker background like this, the contrast now is way better. We can even choose to increase how light these two texts are. So let me increase this one to be probably very light, full white. All right, cool. You could see now that we have a better contrast now. So with this poor contrast, this good contrast. So the background and the foreground should be opposite, right? In such a way that if the background is light, the foreground should be dark. If the background is dark, the foreground should also be what? Light, right? So you should not have dark and dark, and you should not have what? Light and light. So if this one is dark, this text should not be dark. So this is also having a dark text, and this is also having a dark text. Oops. This is also having what? A very dark text. So if it is like this, dark and dark will not go. You could see that dark background, dark foreground will not go. But when you have opposite each other, the contrast will also be what? We'll be able to what? See that particular write-up, right? So when it comes to using images too, let me duplicate this. When it comes to using images too as well, we could also have some contrast issue. So I will click on this frame here, and I'll go and search for the Unsplash plugin. Unsplash. Let me run this particular plugin right now. So with this one now, what I just need to do right now is to see if I can add some color background image. So let me search for, what should I search for now? Let me search for shopping. So if I search for shopping, I'm hoping I'm going to see somebody that's using their card or something, right? And that could also apply for fintech. Okay, this one is cool. Okay, let's use this person. So I'll click this now, and let's use this person here as the background image. All right. So I can close this. This looks cool as my background image, right? So you could see now, when we have a background image like this, poor contrast, how can we add a better contrast to this? How? So let me duplicate this, right? So when you are using something that is as a background image, now for you to solve the contrast issue, right, you need what we call an overlay to solve this particular contrast issue. Let's say I really want to use this. So what I would do, I will go in here now, I will draw a rectangle just inside it like this. I will ensure that the rectangle is underneath the text like this, and I might give the rectangle full black, you see, and I will now reduce the opacity. So when I now reduce the opacity like this, guess what? I have actually solved the contrast issue. So you could see right here we have a contrast problem, but right here now we no longer have what? A contrast problem. Why? I've used what? Overlay. So now this is me now saying that whenever you want to add a text on top of an image, and the image is a busy image, just like what we have right here, an overlay solve that particular problem, that particular contrast problem for you. So while designing, we don't have any card here where we need background image to the card. If not, I would have implemented it on this design. But taking a look at this example here, you've been able to learn contrast and how to use contrast to improve accessibility. As I said, contrast is something that has to do with brightness, and brightness has to do with something that will determine if we are going to see that particular text or not, or that particular information, or access that particular element or not, right? Which is leading us towards accessibility. Accessibility in design is how can your users be able to access that particular element in your design. Now, just to recap, we covered three major principles of contrast. The first one is opposite backgrounds, or opposite backgrounds and foreground. So if your background is gray, is light, let your foreground be dark. Don't put light on light. If your background is dark, let your foreground be light. Don't put dark on dark. If again you have a text on top of an image, adding an overlay rectangle or element on top of the image before the text allow that particular text should actually pop. For example, when you take a look at this design, there is plug and play here, but because of the background of this particular text is not cool, we will not be able to see this particular information, and making this information not to be accessible. But now that we have something like this right now, it becomes really accessible, and we can now actually easily see our plug and play, right? And our information is coming out really nice, right? So you could take this particular one to the bank. This is another principle when it comes towards contrast. So thank you guys for spending time to watch this particular video, and I hope to see you guys in the subsequent video. And don't forget, guys, to always check out Nerdy Eye. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Check out Nerdy Eye to join our upcoming program. You could see our program is nice, 6 months. Join our program. Check out nerdyeye.com. When you go to nerdyeye.com like this, you'll be able to okay, I already created my own account. You'll be able to sign up and so on and so forth. Click on Explore Courses. When you click on Explore Courses, click on Bootcamps. You'll be able to see Product Design Bootcamp just like this. Once you click on it, it will navigate to here too as well. So once you are here, go ahead. You see Get Started or Enroll Now. Whatever is the call to action, click on it, sign up. The monthly subscription fee is 15,000 naira, right? The platform is 10,000, the bootcamp is 5,000, something like that, or $15 for. As of the time of making this video, the pricing might change, but at the time of making this video is $15. So go ahead, subscribe on it. When you subscribe on it, you have access to a one-on-one mentor. You will also be part of a private support group where you'll be learning and gaining support 247. Number 3, you also have access to personalized job and portfolio support tools or portfolio reviews. A professional will go through your portfolio and give you corrections and feedback on what you need to change. We'll be sending and recommending you for jobs too as well on the platform. So all of this amazing stuff, you will love it. As you can see on your profile right here, the most important thing about your profile for anybody that wants to transition into tech is these 3 steps, right? They learn, they build their portfolio, and they apply to jobs. So you want to actually do this so you can actually start learning as soon as possible, right? Go on Nerdy Eye, subscribe and start learning. Turn on your subscription, ensure that you subscribe. It is just $15 per month, and you'll be part of our main community, have access to a mentor, also have access to a learning mate. You know that feeling of when you're learning, you wish you have somebody you guys can learn and grow together. On Nerdy Eye, we'll be pairing you guys up, and you'll be able to have access to a learning mate. So go ahead and give that a trial, and I will hope to see you guys inside the main community. So see you guys in the next video. Peace out.